Hello, Accelerated Math 7-8 students. We are now doing Module 10, Lesson 10. Ooh, I almost thought I said something wrong. Module 10, Lesson 10. It's on simple interest, and we can find it on page 61 of my comp book. So here is page 61 of my comp book, and our lesson is called Simple Interest. Simple interest. Today we will learn how to determine simple interest. The question that I want you to be thinking about is, what is the formula for simple interest? Okay, so I have an activity for you to try, which by the time we get done with this activity, you should be able to answer the question of the lesson. What did you earn is what the activity is called. You have $100. You put it into a savings plan. The plan pays 4.5% interest each year. You will not add or take any money from the account. How much will you make in 1 year or in 5 years? Okay, so the way that I am helping you figure this out is we have a little table and it says years, interest rate, and balance. Okay, so let's look at this together. For 1 year, it said in the story that they will pay you 4.5% times the amount of money that you have as long as you keep it in there for 1 year. So if we take 4.5% and we multiply it by 100, let's see what we get. So we have the part or the quantity equals 4.5% times 100. So our job is to figure out how to perform this activity right here. So basically you have to get 4.5 out of the percent. So we're going to take 4 1/2, we're going to divide it by 100, then we're going to multiply it by 100, and that's going to give us our quantity. Well, 4.5 divided by 100, for those of you who are remembering, 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. So we have 9 halves divided by 100. Okay, and the reason why I'm going to show you the work on all of this is that on the test, several of you guys forgot how to do this, so we need to review it. So we have to find a common denominator. Our common denominator is going to be 2. So we have 2 and 2. So 2, how'd you get from 2 to 2? Times 1. What you do to one side, you have to do the other, so 9 times 1 is 9. To get from 1 to 2, you have to multiply it by 2. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other, so 1 times 2 is 2. 100 times 2 is 200. Now we keep dividing straight across, and we get 2 divided by 2 is 1. 9 divided by 200 is 9 200ths. So our answer is 9 200ths. So if we're going to go back to what we have over here, we now have quantity equals 9 200ths times 100. So again, you just do simple multiplication with fractions. When you're multiplying fractions, you can go straight across. So 9 times 100 is 900. 200 times 1 is 200. So that is what we would get as the quantity equals. We can divide both of them by 100, and we're left with quantity equals 9 halves. And when you simplify that out, you get quantity equals 4.5. Or if you're thinking about money, which is what you should be because this is money, $4.50. So let's go back to our table. If you keep your money, which is $100, in that same savings plan for a whole year, it will earn you $4.50. So what we do with the $4.50 is we add it to our original money that we had, and now our new balance is $104.50. That's our balance. And if you look at our table, that's what we have, $104.50. So we figured out what the percentage would equal for the quantity. We added it to our current amount of money that we put in, and this becomes our new balance. So the next step is, well, how is it going to change if you put it in there for 2 years? Okay, well, we already know that 1 year, right? 1 year earns us, so we would call that interest. 1 year earns us $4.50. 2 years, if you're doing $4.50 for each year, how much does that earn you? $9. 3 years, how much does that earn you? You're going to figure that out. So we know that 1 year is $4.50. So basically, all you have to do is you have to figure out $4.50 is your unit rate, right? Multiply it by the number of years you have. So 0, 15, 12, 13. So now we have $13.50 for 3 years. So we're looking at our table. Now we have to do 4 years, right? So 450 times 4, that gives us $18. So we have $18 here, and then we have 1 year for 5, and you're going to do 450 times 5, and that gives you $22.50. So we know after 5 years of being in the bank, the interest that you earned was $22.50. So if you go back over to your chart, you then have to keep adding how much to each one of these. So we started out with $104.50. We went to $109. So what one would this be, everybody? $113.50, $118, and then $122.50 for 5 years. So how much money will you make in 1 year, everybody? $104.50. How much money will you have made after 5 years? $122.50. Okay? So the question I need you to think about is, what do you notice when the year changes? Every time the year changes, your balance increases by how much? $4.50. Okay. So now the last thing that we need to do is, from what we did up here, there is a formula that you can use to find all of this. And we actually did it if you were paying attention to all of this work. The formula is the interest that you will earn is determined by taking the principal. Principal is the amount of money that you had at the beginning. So we had $100 at the beginning. So the principal is $100. The rate was 4.5%, and the time is the number of years that you left it in there. So interest is earned by taking the money you started with times the percentage rate that they gave you times the number of years you have it in, and that will give you the interest earned. So if we look back over here, that's exactly what we figured out. We took 100 times the rate, figured out that it was $4.50, and then you multiplied that by the number of years you had it. So $4.50 times 2 is $9 interest. $4.50 times 3 is $13.50. $4.50 times 4 years is $18. $4.50 times 5 years is $22.50. Boys and girls, in real life, you will not find a 4.5% savings rate right now. You might find a 1 if you're lucky. They're not giving you tons of money for keeping your money in the bank account, unfortunately. So the reason that you may be thinking, why do I have to know this? Because savings accounts. Any of you who have savings accounts, maybe your parents have already discussed this, you need to keep your money in long enough for it to count. And if you don't keep it in long enough, then you're going to not earn very much money of interest. And interest is what is added to your account, so that's a good thing. Okay? So it's a pretty simple formula. You'll be practicing it in your packets with your work that I gave you tomorrow in class. So make sure you fill all of this information in from both of our sheets that we worked on together. And don't forget this formula. This formula is what you have to use for everything that we're going to do in class tomorrow. Okay, so our goal from today we will learn how to determine simple interest. We did that with our formula. What is the formula? Everybody, without peeking, what is the formula? I, interest, equals P times R times T. I, interest, equals principal times rate times time. I equals P times R times T. Okay? Remember that. It will come in very handy. All right, my dears. That's it for today's lesson, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.